You ever feel like your to-do list is a mile long, but your best ideas feel a million miles away? Yeah, if you do any kind of creative work, that feeling is familiar. We're always told to manage our time better, but what if we're managing the wrong thing entirely? Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from David Kadavi's book, Mind Management, Not Time Management, that could totally change how you think about your work. This quote right here probably hits home for a lot of us, right? It's that feeling of running faster and faster on a treadmill, only to end up more exhausted and in the exact same spot. It's this cycle where you just get less and less back for your effort. And Kadavi argues it's because we've misunderstood what productivity even means for creative people. So, the main problem the book tackles is something he calls the time management trap. You know the feeling. You are constantly overwhelmingly busy, but you never feel truly effective. You're checking things off a list, your calendar looks like a game of Tetris, but are you actually making progress on the stuff that really matters? And this is the downward spiral, isn't it? Every new hack, whether it's multitasking or cutting back on sleep, just throws more fuel on the fire of chaos and anxiety. As Kadavi says, traditional time management becomes like squeezing blood from a stone. You can only optimize a limited resource so much before you start breaking things. And usually, what breaks is you and your creativity. So, how do we get out of this trap? Well, the book's big idea is a pretty radical shift in perspective. It says, stop managing the clock, start managing the one resource that actually matters for creative work, and that's your mental energy. It's not about how many hours you put in, it's about the quality of your mind during those hours. And this slide really nails that shift. See, the old model of time management is built on a lie that all hours are created equal. They're just not. Mind management starts with the truth. Our energy, our focus, our creativity, it all goes up and down. So the goal changes from just being efficient, doing more things faster, to being truly effective, doing the right things in the right state of mind. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, the first step is to find what the book calls your creative sweet spot. This is all about embracing a simple but really profound truth. Not all hours of your day are the same. You have times when you're a laser focused analytical machine, and other times when you're more of a wandering idea generating genius. They are not the same thing. To find that sweet spot, we need to encourage a very specific kind of thinking. Scientists call it divergent thinking. This isn't about finding the one right answer. It's about generating dozens of possible answers. It's about letting your mind wander, make weird connections, and explore every crazy idea without that inner critic shutting it down. So, if this free flowing, messy kind of thinking is so critical for creativity, what's the one thing that just instantly kills it? Well, funny enough, it's a state of being that our culture tends to celebrate. The answer, right here, is busyness. That relentless pressure to just get things done. A Harvard study actually found that on their most hectic days, people's creativity didn't just take a little dip, it plummeted by 45%. Busyness forces our brain into a narrow, find the solution now mode, and it completely slams the door on the open, exploratory thinking we need for real breakthroughs. So here's the wild, counterintuitive secret. Your creative sweet spot often isn't when you're most awake and focused. It's actually during your groggy hours, like right after you wake up, or maybe late at night. And why is that? Well, think of the front part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, as a strict CEO. When you're a bit tired, that CEO is sleepy, less critical. This lets all the wild, creative parts of your brain start connecting ideas in new and unusual ways without being immediately told, no, that's a dumb idea. Okay, so we found our best creative time, but what about all the other hours in the day? This brings us to the book's second big idea, using your passive genius. This is the part of your mind that keeps working on a problem even when you aren't consciously thinking about it. You see, the creative process isn't just a straight line. It's a cycle with four distinct stages. We're usually pretty good at preparation. That's the hard work, the research part. But we almost always skip the most magical stage, incubation. This is when you deliberately step away and let your subconscious mind do the work of connecting all the dots. And this is what incubation is all about. By strategically doing nothing, or at least working on something completely different, you give your brain the space it needs to sort through information, forget the bad ideas, and let the brilliant ones rise to the surface. This isn't being lazy, it's a crucial, active part of the creative system. So we've got these two big ideas, finding our creative sweet spot and using incubation. But how do we actually build them into our lives? Well, the book's answer is to stop obsessing over rigid daily routines and start building flexible, creative systems that actually work with our brains, not against them. So, what this looks like is structuring your week, not just your day. For example, maybe you have a prefrontal Monday that's dedicated to planning and analytical tasks when your brain is fresh. You start to align your work with your mental state, doing that deep divergent thinking in your groggy hours and saving administrative tasks for when your energy is a bit lower. It's all about creating a rhythm that you can ride like a wave. All right, so when you boil it all down, what's the single biggest shift we need to make? It's not about a new app or a new calendar trick, it's a fundamental change in how you even define what a productive day is. This is it. This is the core transformation. Stop measuring your worth in hours logged or tasks checked off. Start valuing your ability to create the mental conditions for insights, for clarity, and for those breakthrough ideas. Because that is the real currency of creative work. So let's make this super practical. Here are three things you can start doing right away. First, become a scientist of your own energy. Track it for a week and find your sweet spot. Second, make incubation a deliberate strategy, not just something that happens by accident. And third, start thinking in weekly rhythms that match your tasks to your mind, not just to the clock. So I'll leave you with a simple experiment, just a little test. Look at your to do list for this week. Find one creative, open ended task, maybe brainstorming ideas or outlining a new project. Now, I want you to move it from your sharpest, most focused time slot to one of your groggy hours. Just try it. See what your passive genius comes up with. You might be really surprised.